You ask a lot of questions. First, you want to know why there's no mirrors in the house, and then you want to know about the scar in my throat. And no, it's not a tracheotomy scar. So how did I get it? Well, it started in the spring when I removed my winter beard and had to start shaving again. I was out of the habit and out of practice, but hey, it's like riding a bike and a few other things. You may not shave for a year, but you still know how. It was on the second or third day I noticed the dark spot on the bathroom mirror. It was more like a smudge, really, a shadow hovering above my right shoulder. I thought something was on the surface of the mirror, so I tried to wipe it off with a rag, but it was still there. A trick of the light? Hey, I didn't know, but I could see to shave. I could still see to shave, so I forgot all about it. It was several days later when I noticed, with a start, that the dark area had grown larger. In fact, it had doubled in size. Since I couldn't clean it off, I tried to ignore it. But it didn't ignore me. It was on a morning when I cut myself rather badly that I realized the dark area now resembled the shadow of a human head. Was it my shadow? I turned off the bathroom lights, but the dark spot was still there. I opened the blinds. Still there. I closed them. Still there. Obviously not a shadow then. I tended to my cut, and then I went and got some Windex and proceeded to clean the mirror. But not only did the dark spot remain, it seemed it was larger. It was larger. It was also more distinctive, and I could now see the outline of a thin, dark head. Now, this is interesting, I told myself. I'm going to observe this and see what transpires. I live alone, so there was no one who I could show the floating head to. And I didn't want to tell anybody at work, lest they think I was crazy or something. In fact, I wouldn't be telling you now, except for, you know. Anyway, before that happened, I did come close to telling a few friends about it, telling them about the floating head. But every time I was on the verge of speaking up, somehow I couldn't bring myself to do it. Something paranormal, something supernatural was happening to me. And I wanted to see how it would pan out, to see how I might explain it before taking anyone into my confidence. And so it was that every morning when I went to shave, and every time I returned home from work, and at night before bed, I went and checked the mirror. Slowly the image of a man began to appear, a thin, dark man with a pinched, acne-scarred face and reddish eyes. But just a head, no visible body, just a detached, evil-looking head, hovering, slightly blurred and somewhat indistinct in the mirror. And then finally one morning, the final morning, the head, came into focus, and I could see it as clearly as I could see my own face. And I could see it was regarding me with intelligent malevolence, regarding me with hatred. And then I made a colossal mistake. I made eye contact. I looked into those two red evil eyes. Immediately, I had the mental image of a razor or a knife cutting a human throat. And at the same time, I heard a voice in my head say, "Die. Die. Why don't you die? Die!" Then, like a zombie, I staggered from the bathroom, then down the hall to the kitchen. I found the carving knife in the drawer where I kept similar utensils, and then I went back down the hall to the bathroom. The face in the mirror was still there, except now it was smiling. Again, I had a mental image of a knife, my knife, moving across my throat and slicing it open. As my hand drew the knife across my throat, slicing it open, the blood poured down the front of my shirt and began pooling in the sink, and I came out of my trance. What the hell are you doing?" I said to myself as I looked up at the face in the mirror, and it was laughing at me. I was bleeding very badly, and I was afraid I was going to pass out from loss of blood. I stumbled from the bathroom to get help, leaving a trail of blood across the carpet. I didn't waste any time trying to call 911. I wasn't sure I could actually talk, but there was a construction crew working down the street, and I ran to them, reaching them just as I passed out. As you can see, I survived, albeit with this ugly scar in my throat. Fortunately for me, I didn't manage to slice open any veins or arteries. Of course, I had to tell them about the face, the floating head, and they sent me for psychological counseling. But not before they examined the mirror closely. There was no face, they told me. It was just a hallucination, all in my head, they told me. I had to accept it, of course. But still, the day came when it was time for me to go home, and the first thing I did was go into the bathroom and look in the mirror. And I saw the dark spot. It was more like a smudge, really, a shadow hovering above my right shoulder, something you could wipe off with a rag. I smashed the mirror into a million tiny pieces. 7 years bad luck be damned. I then smashed every mirror in the house, for in all of them I could see a dark spot, a smudge. So, nowadays, the only place I'm truly vulnerable is in the car, for there is a dark spot, a smudge, in the corner of the rear view and in the corner of the side mirror. And one of these days, I'm afraid that I will see in these mirrors a face, the face of a thin, dark man, pinched, acne-scarred, the reddish eyes glowing with intelligent malevolence, and I will make a mistake. I will make eye contact, and he will order me to crash. Oh God, oh God, please don't let me hurt anyone. Maybe I should start taking the bus. The moral of the story: men with beards tend to avoid close shaves. You ask a lot of questions. First, you want to know why I quit drinking, and then you want to know about the scar in my throat. And no, it's not a tracheotomy. It's not a tracheotomy. It's not a tracheotomy. Oh, you know what I mean. It's not one of those kind of scars. So, how did I get it? Well, back when I was drinking, I used to hit the bars at night and naturally began to pack on the weight. So I went from beer to light beer, and when that didn't work, I switched to Bloody Marys. Bloody Mary. I wasn't a sophisticated drinker, which is good. I didn't go to sophisticated bars. So my Mary was pretty simple. Several fingers of vodka, gin, or tequila, plus tomato juice, and a few shots of Worcester. None of this garnish or hippie crap. It was a rather humid evening, and as I sat before the barroom mirror, I'd lost track of how many times I'd sung out to the bartender, "Bloody Mary! Bloody Mary!" I must have sung out at least 7 times, or maybe as many as 13 times. Hey, I had 6 doubles in a single. That'd make 13 shots. I had my skin on. I mean, I had a skin on. I was staring at my rather blurry reflection in the mirror above the bar, and then suddenly, she was there, sitting on the bar stool next to mine and leaning in towards me. I knew she was about to hit on me. For a drink. I was just about to exercise my considerable personal charm and tell her to piss off when I did a double take and forced myself to focus. Focus. This woman wasn't your usual barfly. In truth, she was drop-dead gorgeous. I know that beauty is often in the eye of the beer holder, but this woman really was lovely. Tall, with a slim, pretty face, the skin pale and flawless, the eyes gray-blue, the hair long and blonde. I blinked, and when I opened my eyes again, she was still there, still looking at me. I may have been drunk, but I wasn't that drunk. Let me rephrase that. I may be slow, but I'm not that slow. Now I leaned towards her and said, "Can I buy you a drink?" She smiled at me and was about to say yes when Karen the bartender, leaned towards us and said, "You're not buying anyone a drink. You need to go home." I always called Karen Babe, whether she liked it or not. So I said, "Come on, Babe. Is this a joke or what?" "You've had enough for tonight. 7 doubles. 6? No more than 6, I'm sure. I think. You need to go home. Come back tomorrow." Okay. But can I at least buy this lady a drink?" "No." I glanced up into the mirror to make sure my mystery lady was still there, and to make sure she was really real and not a vodka-fueled hallucination. She was still there, and to settle all doubts, she spoke to me in a husky, sexy voice. "Don't make a scene. We'll go somewhere else." I mustered up as much dignity as I could and left the bar arm in arm. I think she was probably trying to steady me on my feet. Arm in arm with my vision of paradise, as Karen watched us with, what? An amused expression on her face? A bemused expression? Concerned? Evil? Out on the street, I said to my vision, "What's your name?" Then my vision cried, "Mary, Mary." "Where are we going, Mary?" I was hoping she might say, "To my place," but instead she led me to the mouth of a nearby alley, where she said, "Through here." That took me by surprise. I wondered if she wanted to take me to a dark place to make out, but no, that couldn't be. This woman looked well off, so perhaps she was slumming, and I was definitely a slum creature. Still, it was probably just a shortcut. But then, halfway down the alley, she stopped walking. We stood in the shadows, facing one another in an alley. It wasn't a bad alley, as alleys go. It didn't really stink, and there wasn't a lot of trash on the ground or overflowing garbage cans. But it was wet underfoot, damp. An alley. Not the sort of place to make out. I didn't get much attention from women. In fact, I was usually pretty desperate. But still, there are limits, eh? "Why'd we stop?" I said, and I was having trouble speaking. "Don't talk," she said, her husky voice almost a growl, as she put her arms around me. It was the prelude to a kiss. And at that precise moment, a car turned into the far end of the alley. I turned my head to look at it. Just as my vision of loveliness bit into my throat. I yanked my head away in shock and surprise as the blood splashed down the front of my shirt. The lights of the approaching car, which was racing down the alley towards us, illuminated the blonde's once lovely face, now caked and covered in gore. With a scream, "Oh, okay," with a gurgle, I lurched from the alley. Behind me, I heard screeching brakes. Then I heard screaming, which was suddenly cut off. Blood was pouring down my front, down my shirt, even my pants. As I stumbled down the street, my one thought was to get home. Get home. Put a Band-Aid on it. Get home. Home. So I went back to the bar. I thought Karen was going to vomit when I pushed my way through the front door and staggered over to the bar. For the first time, I remembered thinking how pale she was, how pale her face, her skin was. She looked horrified. Maybe she was worried I was going to bleed all over the bar. And then I hit the floor. I don't remember anything of what happened in the immediate aftermath. I only have vague memories of being rushed down a hospital corridor while a metallic voice droned, "Code blue, code blue, code something." In the end, I made it. I spent 6 months in hospital, and I can no longer speak above a whisper. But at least I survived. The other guy didn't. You see, the vehicle which pulled into the alley at the precise moment I was attacked was a security patrol car. I had turned my head to look towards it, so my girlfriend tore a hole in the side of my neck, not my throat. But she did tear out the throat of the security guard, who must have left the patrol car to try to help me. In fact, she tore his head clean off. One of my surgeons, my plastic surgeon, told me that my injuries and the guard's injuries most closely resembled the injuries from an attack by a grizzly bear. Grizzly bear? Great. Instead of making love to a bare-naked lady, I got maimed for life by a bear lady. Mary has never been found. The cops went to interview Karen as a potential witness, only to find she too had vanished. In fact, the owners of the bar told police that no one named Karen had ever worked there. Was Mary a hallucination? A hallucination? Was Karen? How could that be? Hallucinations don't mix Bloody Marys or tear a hole in the side of your neck. Were they in it together? Partners in crime? Or was Karen a guardian angel who tried to stop it, tried to send me home safe? It was only later that I remembered about the ritual, the Bloody Mary ritual. Bloody Mary. Did I summon Bloody Mary by accident? Impossible, right? Right? Well, there's one way to find out. Go find a mirror and then call Bloody Mary 13 times and see what happens. I dare you. I double dog dare you to try. Hey, let's do it together. Go and get a mirror. Go find a mirror. Got your mirror now? Okay. All together now. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Bloody Mary. 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 Oh, crap. Hi, Karen. Hi, Mary. The moral of the story: nothing good ever happens in a bar when, like the song says, you're feeling single and seeing double. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories featuring such cryptids as the Night Floaters, werewolves, and the Black-Eyed Children. So again, please consider subscribing. Please help me to reach my goal of 2,021 subs in 2021. Till midnight. Cheers. Pictures used in today's video, courtesy of Pix Here, that's PX Here, while the music was The Haunting and Mysterious Ghost Story by that patron of the internet, Kevin MacLeod.